Lamare Bogarde. The 21-year-old born in Rotterdam in 2004 might be Villa's best chance of recapturing some of that sparkling form in the 2023 to 2024 season that propelled us into Champions League football. And I'm here to tell you why. Like I say, born in 2004 in Rotterdam, he was picked up by Feyenoord in 2011 at just 7 years of age, where he played football for 9 years. Scouted by some of Europe's biggest clubs like Tottenham, but Aston Villa beat everyone to his signature in 2020. 2 loan spells at Bristol Rovers followed before he was started to be integrated into the first team by Unai Emery. Well, today, welcome back to the Rodgers Reports channel. We're going to be looking at how this season he has transformed himself from a centre-back, a right-back, a left-back, effectively a jack-of-all-trades Swiss Army knife player for Unai Emery into possibly the type of player that can unlock the likes of Ross Barkley, Boubacar Kamara and Amadou Onana to change Villa back into that team that we were, that force that we were in 2024, and maybe unlock that 4-4-2 that made us so good. So if you are looking forward to this video, be sure to go down right below me, down there somewhere below the sling should be a like button, there should be a subscribe button, and there should be a little bell that will notify you whenever there are new updates or any activity on this channel. So go down, subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you've thought of Lamare Bogarde this season, because in the last 3 games he has really shown that in that central mid / central defensive midfield formation or position, he could be really, really special. And we are on the road to 4,000 subscribers, so it helps me out massively if you do those things. If you play FPL, go down below in the description. There's a link to my league, the Rodgers Reports Classic, code also on the screen right now. Come and play me, because I'm terrible, and then you can brag that you beat me in the comments as well. But let's have a little look at the career, the retrospective, the player that is Lamare Bogarde, and how he has just transformed himself, and I think is going to become a very, very important player for Emery this season. See on screen, and as I said before, he started off at the Feyenoord Academy, where he primarily played as a defensive midfielder, like we are seeing now. And he done very, very well. 18 games in the season that you can see on the screen, 2 goals and 4 assists. And that was the breakthrough season, because then he signed for Villa. And as you can see on the screen, now we pretty swiftly transitioned him into a centre-back. Now, why was this? Maybe we just didn't think he was good enough on the ball to play in midfield. Obviously, slightly different going from Dutch football to the English football system. But nonetheless, he did drop back and play in that centre-back role. Then came 2 back-to-back loans to Bristol Rovers in League One, I believe it was at the time, where he actually played a decent amount of games overall and primarily played as a centre-mid. Perhaps these 2 loans changing Aston Villa's ideas of who he was as a player, his identity as a player. He is a defender, yep, and he's very defensive when he plays in midfield. You can tell that, and we're going to get into that very, very shortly. But the 2 loan spells at Bristol really highlighted one thing about Lamare Bogarde. He can play in the middle of the park, and he can control the tempo of a game. So what happened when he came back to Aston Villa as a 20-year-old, ready to break in to the Villa first team? Well, we reverted back to type. As you can see, the start of his life in the Premier League came by the way of 3 performances at right back. Not a natural position for him really at all. He primarily played defensive midfielder, like we said, for Feyenoord's youth setup. Then he moved to mainly being a centre-back in our youth setup, and then back to a centre-mid at Bristol Rovers. But he started to perform pretty well, and it earned him more performances and more games at that right-back role. He played a couple of games at centre-back and a couple of games at defensive midfield. But primarily, he was deployed along the right-hand side of Aston Villa's back line. But what changed? Well, sometimes in football, it's a funny thing, right? You just need that bit of luck and that opportunity. And that came in the fact that Villa have had probably the worst luck possible for centre-mids this season. We came into the season with Ross Barkley, Boubacar Kamara, Yuri Tielemans, John McGinn. Oh God, I'm missing one as well that's injured. Amadou Onana. Right? 5, and we only played 2 CDMs. Well, let's go through the list. Ross Barkley, injured, out, only just came back. Tielemans, injured, out. John McGinn having to fill in elsewhere on the pitch. That is a crazy... Can I even hold that? I don't know. Yuri Tielemans, out, injured. Boubacar Kamara, out, injured as well. So we really were down to bare bones minimum in that defensive midfield slot. We went from playing the general formation that we used to play, which was Kamara and Onana, or Kamara and Tielemans, all the way down to McGinn and Kamara, because McGinn had to drop in, and then Kamara also not completely fit to start and play 90 minutes. So an opportunity arose for a 21-year-old from the Netherlands to come in against Fulham, and he played all right. I mean, when I say all right, he controlled the tempo of that game. Now, if we go across to his SOFA score that's been up on the screen, yep, he only got a rating of 6.5. He did play 82 minutes, completing 100% of his 26 passes, including a key pass, won 3 ground duels as well as getting 1 tackle in there as well. And then he came in for the last 20 minutes in that CDM role again due to necessity. Kamara unable to complete 90 minutes, like I say, due to injury, and played 19 minutes. You can see his heat map there. And the reason I put the heat maps in is because it's going to be interesting how he plays on the right-hand side, a position generally held down by Boubacar Kamara, who slots into the back 3 or as the right back when Matty Cash goes forward. But in that game, another 100% pass completion, 17 passes in total, an accurate long ball in there as well, a successful dribble, a ground duel won as well. And then he came in against Burnley and was probably, apart from the obvious choice of Donyell Marlon, who got the 2 goals, he was my choice to be man of the match because he played really, really well. And again, that SOFA score 6.6, it's because Lamare Bogarde does something that Villa, I think, have been missing in the last couple of seasons. And it's something that Kamara used to do when Douglas Luiz was next to him. Douglas Luiz got all the plaudits, right? He got the big move to Juventus. He got, the big money. He got all of the, wow, he's scoring from corners. He's getting all these assists, scoring these brilliant goals. But what Kamara done was be a facilitator. And I think we're missing out on a facilitator at the moment. But Kamara has the potential to be that Douglas Luiz type player, in my opinion. I think going forward, he's very, very underrated. He's very, very underrated on the ball. That pass to Donyell Marlon was absolutely spectacular. But he hasn't had a facilitator. He hasn't had someone next to him. And this is, believe me, this is a huge compliment to Lamare Bogarde and how he's played in the last few games. He does the unspectacular spectacularly. He just does those things that don't get you the flashy SOFA score ratings, that don't get you the goals, that don't get you the assists, but that are just so important to a team. The donkey work. Every team needs a donkey player. You know what I mean? You need a donkey every now and again to just do that work, to allow other players around you to be so good. Think of Emil Heskey, right? That's the main one. I think that's probably he done all of those things that just facilitated for his teammates, and he made his teammates so much better. And in this game, 89 minutes played, and again, a pass accuracy of 97%, 56 out of 58 passes completed, another 3 ground duels won as well in that game. Now, what does it do? Well, here is Boubacar Kamara's heat map against Burnley. He got the plaudits, 7.6 SOFA score rating, a fantastic assist, obviously. But look at that heat map. What do you notice? Well, he's all on the left-hand side, and he was allowed, due to the work that Lamare Bogarde was putting in, to push a little bit further up the pitch and actually push a little bit beyond the halfway line. For comparison, here is a game against Feyenoord that obviously Bogarde only came on later on in the game, where he played the 90 minutes. He got the assist again, fantastic. But look at the heat map. Definitely not as concentrated on one particular side of the pitch. And it's a bit more all over the place. And it is a lot more defensive. Here's another heat map against Bologna, where Bogarde didn't play at all. And again, you can see it's concentrated everywhere across that back line. And it is heavily defensive. You compare it, again, if we go back to that heat map against Burnley, you can see the tactical changes that are allowed to happen when Bogard is next to Kamara. Right, a little bit further. So here's Luca Digne picking up the ball, and you can see already Lamare Bogarde has dropped very, very deep, and Kamara is already allowed to break. And I think this is actually where one of the goals did come from. You can see Bogard there a lot deeper, Kamara allowed to break. That is actually, yeah, what leads forward to Kamara getting the ball to play Daniel Marlon in for our first goal. Bogard not even in the screen, being sure to be back and making us defensively solid, allowing Kamara to unleash his more technical and creative side. Here is another example. Again, Bogard on that right-hand side, Kamara on the left, allows Kamara to get loads more room and space to be able to get the ball. But Bogard not afraid to get on the ball and doing his job very, very well, because that led to this. And as you can see, Bogard on the ball there. He is going to be the one that plays the ball through to Morgan Rogers. A great line-breaking ball through the middle of 4 Burnley players to get us in for goal number 2. Here, again, this is the Fulham game where Bogard stepping out slightly from that defensive role as Konsa has also stepped up. And he is the one that tracks and tackles Traore and allows Villa to score that second goal. McGinn getting the goal there. But he's the one that tracks him. He's the one that tackles him. He is the one that makes it happen. Now, I don't want to get carried away. Look, Lamare Bogarde is 21 years of age. It's the first glimmers of hope that he has shown that he could be a regular first-team player. But with Onana and Barkley only just coming back to full fitness and regularly injured, I think it just... the way that we played against Burnley was completely different to what we've seen from Villa over the last season or so. Like I've said in my review video, it was much more reminiscent, and if you want to hear me talk more about that, go and watch that video. I'll put it somewhere on the screen. It was much more reminiscent of that Champions League season. The 4-4-2. And Kamara being allowed to be a bit more creative, which we know he has in his locker, I think is brilliant. And it gives us a bit of a different feel to the team in that 4-4-2. We were a lot more defensively compact against Burnley, let's be honest. They didn't really have a chance bar a corner where the man was just left. And like I say, Bogard just controlled that game really, really nicely. He done the unspectacular spectacularly. Now it's going to be interesting to see, will Bogard get dropped out now that Onana, Barkley are back? Tielemans might be back post-international break. But I think this video was important to make because, again, it allows us to play in that different way. It allows us to maybe recapture some of that Emery mojo from that Champions League season. And I think there's just been a lot of negativity around Villa recently, rightfully so. So I think we need to celebrate a young lad coming through, taking his opportunity and possibly unlocking a completely new way for Villa to push our way back up that Premier League table. Have you been impressed by Lamare Bogarde? Comment down below what you think. Will he keep his place in that starting lineup? And I'll see you tomorrow. Up the Villa.